Hello and welcome back, Eclectors. It's the Eclectic Collection. I know what you're tuned in for. That's number 113, Tunnel Vision. Why? Well, because we're talking about eyesight and a play on words, because that's fun. I go to the eye doctor on September 1st, and I've been there since, and I love my eye doctor. I can't say that enough. I actually only use doctors that I like. I stopped using mean people a long time ago. So I love my eye doctor. He's fantastic, and his staff, for the most part, is awesome sauce, and I love them. And I went up to this new facility that was all sparkly and pretty and nicely done, and they had moved, and it was probably it was checkup, nothing weird, just checking up on my contacts and whatnot. Don't worry, I can still read only the big E at the top of the chart. No, I just memorized them when they're not looking, but no, don't tell anybody. But doing my thing and to get in there because he's a popular doctor. There's a lot of people there, and varying types of eye difficulties. I was on the low end because I was just getting an update and a checkup and whatnot. I wasn't on severe surgeries and things like that. And he sees everybody, so I'm waiting, and it's fine. Like I had an appointment. I was on time, which is shocking in itself. And he always has a full waiting room. So when I checked in, the people that usually check me in, who are totally my peeps, and I love them, and I told them this podcast was coming, they were tied up and on the phone and with other people, and there was this noob there. Now, I get it. Noobs exist. You got to teach noobs. I'm a teacher. I understand. You're going to get noobs, and the noobs have to become decent people, and, rookies have to learn, and then rookies become veterans. It's just the way it goes. It's funny because I was walking around the hallways looking at people that I still think are 20-something that are now almost 40, and I thought, oh, wow, they're not rookies anymore. But in my head, there's still those young kids that started. So, they become great too. It's just you have to be taught correctly in order to absorb correctly, and you have to be able to absorb correctly. So there's this person I've not seen before, and she was about, 2 or 3 shades from miserable, which is not the attitude of the office. She just didn't look like she wanted to be there, looked overwhelmed, and it's life. I mean, you're going to have too many people and too much stuff at any point, but the rest of the office is super pleasant. So that just stuck out to me like, ooh, one of these things is not like the other. Which one of these things doesn't belong? That girl. And you're new, so it's like, come on, you need to adapt or move on. So that was Oogie. And then when I go to say, hey, it's me, I'm checking in, la, la, la. Of course, the other part of the staff's like, oh, trouble's here, which I totally accept that because that's cool. And I'm chatting with them, and the doc comes around the corner, and he's like, oh, God, I see you. It's going to be more trouble. I'm like, yes, you love me. So, we're all joking, and he's a little backed up. I'm like, yeah, you're always backed up. Your time's more important than mine. I understand. I tease him constantly. And I didn't actually end up waiting that long that day, but I was really stopped to go in because instead of just saying, hey, it's me, check the box, here's my copay, I am met with clueless noob Grumpy Pants who says, oh, you owe money. And I said, no, I pay a copay and that's it. No, I have coverage. And she's arguing with me and pulls out this piece of paper. Now, of course, doctors, in case you didn't know this is like the chef-waitress argument, okay? Servers bring out food. They didn't cook it, so they don't know what happened in the kitchen. So if it hits the plate and you assume the plate's right because the guy above you was doing a different job, you hope that guy did his job right. So you scream at the server, but they didn't do it. So the chef did it, and you won't really get to the chef. So the doc doesn't ever know, at least no docs I know, have any clue about their insurance or who they take or what or whatever, because they have billing people for that. And honestly, I'd rather them worry about my eyes and be an eye doctor than worry about billing. So I totally get it. However, talking to him was useless, and the 2 people that were super important for that either weren't there or not available. So I'm like, noob, put it aside. I ain't paying you. There's nothing to pay. You're cray-cray. Read my file. But rather than take the time and due diligence to do the proper thing, let's make a bigger mess. Because that's what we do now, post-vid. Let's make a bigger mess. Here's a thought. Why don't we start cleaning up Earth instead of waiting for it to blow up? Because that's definitely going to happen one of these minutes. So she's like, you just owe it, and that's just all there's to it. You just owe it. I said, I don't owe it. I'm not paying it. I don't know what you're talking about. Much like right now, you wouldn't let me into the appointment unless I gave you the copay. I can't possibly have a copay. Do you not see the logic? So now some of the other normal people get involved, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. She looks at them like, stay in your lane, and I'm thinking, no, please, come in this lane. So this goes back and forth for like 10 minutes, and in the end, when she finally read the note said, missed appointment, so they were trying to charge me for the appointment. And I was like, no. First of all, there's no challenging my memory, seriously. You want to go up against that? That's a bad scene, because I forget nothing. Vice grip, black box, goes down with the plane. I said the last time we were supposed to have an appointment, it was July 4th weekend, and he only works on Fridays, and Friday happened to fall on July 4th. So guess what? You guys called me and said, my bad, scheduled the wrong thing, so therefore there's not going to be the doctor that day. I said, no problem. Hence, we're here now. See how that works? Let me show you a calendar. So they bailed. I didn't. It wasn't a missed appointment. It was a rescheduled appointment. Whatever ding-dong clicked in what code, probably her, clicked in the wrong thing, and it looked like I bailed, which I would never, because I totally love that office, and I just wouldn't do that anyway. It's completely mean and nasty and not courteous whatsoever. So don't do that. Don't bail on doctors. Don't bail on anybody. So she's like, no, you did it, blah, blah, blah. I felt like I was talking to a little company you may have heard of called Comcast, where they just like, oh, yeah, I don't know what to do. Sorry, just got to pay it. There's always like no solution with them, which makes me sad. We'll rant about them another day. It's like the only cable game, and they know it. So they're like, yeah, sorry. You just have to, yep, sure, pay the bill. Or you don't get channels. Thanks, bye-bye. And that's kind of how you always feel when you get off the phone with them. So I felt like that. I was starting to feel a little Comcast-ish, and I didn't like it. So I'm looking at the two normal people, and I'm like, you going to help me with this or what? So they tried. She wasn't having it. And I felt like I had no recourse but to pay the bill, even though I knew I didn't owe them that. And, I was getting stuck paying this bill. And it wasn't even the copay. It was like the whole visit, which I don't even pay for normally. So I agreed to pay the copay of the visit that I didn't even go just to shut her up. She still wrote a nasty note in my file. I said, that's fine. Come after me for a copay. And I ended up having to go the very long route and get it straightened out. And it took months and several phone calls and waiting on hold and a lot of red tape BS, all because one person didn't do their job, didn't pay attention, and was probably, busy playing Fortnite instead of answering the phones and doing their job like they're supposed to. So I do not like that person, Sam I am, and I have been back a couple times and I haven't seen her. So I'm kind of hoping that they figured it out and, weeded out the Darwin of it all. But I don't know if they did or not. But I haven't seen her because I've made nasty comments since. And I've said, hey, I'm very open and very outspoken in case you haven't guessed. So you're going to be my next podcast. We're going to be talking about this woman, just so you know. And to make matters worse, I'm like, it's bad enough that like we're always overbooked and we're always waiting and stuff. I get that. I can live off that. I was like, the doc is great. You guys are fantastic. But you're not allowed to hire nasty people. I was like, that's against the law because then they're going to hold up and bring everybody down. And it really did. And it's amazing how like one bad apple can completely tarnish everybody that's all good intentioned and really trying to do the best job in anything. And that stuck with me that day. And it made me grumpy pants. And of course, it was already Labor Day, so I was grumpy because, impending doom of prison. I mean, school. So you always have to think about what's happening in your own life. But that whole day, I thought, okay, let's assess. I went in. She was mean, wasn't greeted well, got cut off from any kind of solution, was forced to pay something that I didn't have to pay, wasn't going to pay. I had to handle the paperwork that she should have done correctly in the first place. So I essentially did her job. I didn't get paid for it. In order to get my money back that was rightfully mine. She completely murdered the entire flow and fun vibes of the office, tainted everybody's attitude and all the people around it, heard and got everybody super grumpy. I thought, good job. So if that's your from the gate, first take on employment, you might want to reconsider, maybe stay at home and work from home because you're not a people person, sweetie. You're not a people person. And that made me sad because I love my eye doctor. And then I did go in and look at the Big E and, figure out that is probably the only line that I can read. Although he's got a lot of cool toys. I'm not going to lie. A lot of cool toys. I get a kick out of when they puff the little air thing in your face and put the little headgear on and smush up to your eyeball. Although I hate getting googly. If I'm the only one and doesn't like getting googly, I feel that to be a weird thing. Not supposed to drive home. I drive home googly all the time. But when they make you Google eyes, you probably shouldn't drive. I'm just saying, public service announcement. But if you don't like getting googly, let me know because I'm interested in that too. I'm anti-Googles. I hate it because then you sit outside and you're looking at your phone and it gets all goofy, and you're looking at the clock and it gets all goofy, and you can't put your lenses back in, and you can't put your glasses on, and you're all disoriented. And I'm like, driving, yeah, hope the lanes are right. So yeah, don't drive googly. But it's just one of those things, and it's stuck with me enough that I remember thinking, it's a copay. We're overbooked. Had to wait. I felt like I lost, and none of it worked out at all, to my advantage. And it all could have been so simply fixed if she had just said a little more with honey than vinegar. You know what? This could be a mistake. I'll look into it. The office will get back to you. Like, even if you didn't want to deal with it then, I get it. But don't pass it off. Make sure you look into it. But I don't know. I just feel like it's sad that people have resorted to the path of least resistance, and it's not always the right one. So don't be that person. But I do love my eye doctor. Just saying. And all the staff. Minus her. Okay. If you like what you heard today and that story resonates with you, then check us out at eclecticcollectionpodcast.com or listen to us on your preferred platform. I'm Terry Tenaglia. Thanks for listening.